What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astrodfs bringing you a brand new video. Today's video, we're going over Week 16's main slate first look. Had a really good Week 15. I definitely was surprised by some of the fantasy performances that we got, and then got another good one on Sunday night. So yeah, let's get into this one. So Josh Allen. 8,700, right? Last week, I said, hey, I'm wrong. I'm wrong here. I said, I don't think you need to go Josh Allen in cash, right? He was up there, 8,500. Was not really feeling Josh Allen just having an explosive game. And, yep, I was completely wrong on that one. Yet again, over 300 passing yards, 68 rushing yards, 4 total touchdowns for him, and gets you 44 DraftKings points. So, really good game out of him. This week gets New England, which is kind of a change of pace. You look at the last 2 weeks, the opponents he's faced. He's faced the Rams to where 80 combined points, or 80 plus combined points. And then week 15, Detroit, 90 points in that one. Now, I don't think New England's going to be able to, keep pace with Buffalo, but we've seen offenses in the past score a lot and then kind of rest. So Josh Allen, yet again, good play, right? He was a good play. I said he was a good play. I just didn't think he needed to go there in cash. Completely wrong there. But yeah, I don't know how much I'm looking at Josh Allen. I'm probably going to look and we'll see James Cook's price and kind of like that one. Jalen Hurts, really good division matchup against Washington. That'll be a good one there. Earlier, we already saw them play once this season at Philly. Now we're at Washington, so that one seems kind of good. Joe Burrow, yet again, is another guy that's going to put up fantasy numbers. I mean, he just continues to do it. Granted, didn't get the 300-yard bonus, but still threw 3 touchdowns. Did throw 2 interceptions, but for their price point, didn't really pay off. But we're going to have to see who Cleveland's quarterback is this week, that's for sure. Jaden Daniels at home. He's been playing really good. Yet again, not really looking at that one. The one, there's 2 quarterbacks I'm looking at right now, regardless of price, right? This is the first time seeing the prices. Jared Goff is 6,800 on the road against Chicago. So not a dome game, right? It's going to be colder. But Detroit's defense is ridiculously banged up. I mean, ridiculous. They have double-digit defensive players on IR. So Jared Goff on the road against Chicago, that's one to look for. And then we'll see Caleb Williams' price as well. Sam Darnold, 6,500 on the road against Seattle. I like that one. That one could be a potentially good matchup there. Brock Purdy on the road against Miami. Not really interested in that one as of right now. Kyler Murray on the road against Carolina. Kind of the same thing. Not really interested in that one. I would prefer James Conner, so we'll see the running back prices for that one. This one is kind of interesting. Matt Stafford is 5,900 on the road against the Jets. We kind of see the Jets secondary banged up, and they've allowed a good amount of passing yards against them. Now we get 2 quarterbacks who are in 2 completely different teams that have played each other for years. Matt Stafford's 5,900 on the road, and Aaron Rodgers is 5,600 at home. So that's a game definitely to watch. You're watching for the injury statuses of the Jets secondary. If they're missing, 2 guys yet again, then we're liking Matt Stafford in that offense, right? Must-win game for the Rams. And Jets are just going to try to stat pad, basically, and get people incentives and stuff like that, and figure out where they go next year. So kind of like that one. But Caleb Williams is 5,500 at home against Detroit. Granted, you saw what happened last night against Minnesota. Kind of a disappointing game. You see the last 2 weeks since the coaching situation and Thomas Brown being the interim head coach versus the offensive coordinator, where we saw a bump in the Bears offense with Brown as the offensive coordinator. But as the head coach, granted, they've been some tough matchups in San Fran's defense and Minnesota's defense, but that offense has not looked good, but I do think this is a good matchup with how banged up Detroit's defense is. Kirk Cousins at home against the Giants. If you cannot, right, they won the ball game. 17 pass attempts against a Vegas defense without Max Crosby is ridiculous. I'm just saying, like, I'm going to go on a quick rant, but this is a team to where they're fighting for a playoff spot, if they get in the playoffs, I'm not confident with Atlanta. Their offense has not clicked, right? They have too many weapons. They have Bijan, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts, Kirk Cousins. This offense has not been good at all. They have not. They have not been good, right? 17 against New Orleans defense, 6 against Denver's defense. Denver got a defense, good defense. Chargers defense got a good defense. 13 against Minnesota, 21, and against Vegas, 15. Like, you got to get your shit together. You're not going to win a playoff game the way you've been playing. You've lost way too many games against bad teams. Like, you should not be happy scoring 15 points against Vegas. A win's a win. You should not be happy. That is a game where you start to get confidence and build things, and they did not. So, it's a good matchup for Kirk Cousins, but my God, that was terrible. Anthony Richardson at home against Tennessee. The rushing upside is the only thing keeping Anthony Richardson playable. The only thing, right? He's getting you fantasy numbers from rushing. The passing is not there. It is not there. You've seen it all this season. This might be bad for Anthony Richardson's future. I'm just going to say that. Bryce Young, tough matchup against Arizona. Watching the Cleveland quarterback situation, Stefanski said he has not named a starter for this game. So Jameis could be the starter at 5,300. Could be a really good matchup for him. DTR could be a good matchup for him. The rushing upside is there. Granted, $500 cheaper than Jameis, so play that into effect. But, I mean, DTR getting in that game against Kansas City, 4 of 9, 18 yards and a turnover. So the rushing is there for DTR. The passing is very skeptical. The other one to watch is Geno Smith's status. We could get Sam Howell at 5,200, which would kind of hurt Seattle players. But Mac Jones, 5,200 on the road against Vegas. Yet again, Jacksonville, that team's not playing for the playoffs. They have a top 5 pick right now, I believe. So they're playing same thing. Stat padding, incentives, trying to get a contract next year, depending on who you are. Would watch the injury status of Aiden O'Connell. If Aiden O'Connell is back, really like him against Jacksonville. If it's Ritter, not really interested. Tennessee is another quarterback situation to watch. If it's Mason Rudolph, I'd feel much better playing Mason Rudolph than Will Levis in that one. The Giants situation, another one we're watching the status of. DeVito got hurt. If I can remember, I don't believe he came back in the game. I think it was Tim Boyle the rest of the game. Drew Lock ended up being the emergency quarterback, and I do believe he had to suit up. And they said he was in a walking boot like a couple days before, so would watch the injury status of the Giants players as well. You get Tim Boyle at 4,400 if he's the quarterback against Atlanta, who, look, I'm not saying he had a great game, but it wasn't the worst. I'll say that. It wasn't the worst out of Tim Boyle against Baltimore coming in late. Like 12 for 123 and a touchdown through pick, 4,400. I don't hate it. I'll say that. They have enough pieces on the Giants offense to get the ball moving. Running backs, I think this is a huge 3 running back week. Saquon Barkley on the road against Washington. Love that. Bijan at home against the Giants. I mean, it's very clear. Atlanta's going to use Bijan. It's just going to happen, right? We saw it last night. Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, is an amazing play now with unfortunate news to David Montgomery being out the year. You get Jahmyr Gibbs 7,500 against the Bears, where we saw him play a few weeks ago. 9 for 87, right? Doesn't have a good fantasy game, especially for his price point. But 9 for 87. Did not score. 4 targets. Had a really good game. So without David Montgomery, I think it's Jahmyr Gibbs, just pretty clear. Devon Achane, 7,400. I like that against San Fran. Granted, you're getting Shanahan versus Daniels, so that one is going to be a good one, possibly. I mean, both offenses kind of underperformed this season. Kyron against the Jets, 7,200. Not really in love with that with some of the other matchups and prices, right? James Conner, 7,100 on the road against Arizona, so I really like that one. You're going to see some of these teams start to utilize their run game more. With the banged up backups for Arizona, James Conner's kind of shined the last 2 weeks, so 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games, over 100 yards last week, 5 targets as well. So James Conner in a really good spot. James Cook also in a really good spot. So he's 7,000. Did way better than I thought he would against Detroit. So I'll take that. But at home, yeah, James Cook looks like he's in a really good spot. Chuba Hubbard, yet again, 6,800 against Arizona in a really good spot. Tony Pollard, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Did get banged up. Tajay Spears had I think probably one of the best games he's had of his career. Granted, short career, but he's been pretty banged up, so it was nice to see him get back out there, have a really good game. Aaron Jones against Seattle, this one kind of seems really good as well. Continue to go down. Breece Hall, I think, is a good matchup against the Rams, but he's just not. He's been banged up, and the volume is just not been there for what we thought Breece Hall would be. Like, he should be getting 20-plus carries a game. But the offense is underperformed as a whole. So, watching the Ken Walker news, Zach Charbonnet would be 6K at home against Minnesota, just getting a lot of volume there. Watching the injury status of McCormick, got kind of banged up in that one. So, you would get, Alexander Mattson, somewhere down here, 5,100. Continue to go down. We already know Nick Chubb is out, so Jerome Ford is 5,600 on the road against Cincinnati, so I don't hate that one either. Down here, I'm not seeing really anybody that stands out, so I think as of right now, that would be it. Tajay Spears, 4,900 maybe, but still. So it's kind of it for the running backs. I think there's a lot of good matchups for running backs this week. Wide receivers, 3 over 8K. Jamar Chase continues to be a stud for fantasy. 8,500 at home against Cleveland. Like I said, if it's DTR, I don't know where I go with the Cincinnati team. Granted, they have to win out, but still, I don't know where I'm at with that team. Justin Jefferson on the road against Seattle. I'm fine with that one. It's a tougher one, but I'm fine with that one. Puka, watching the injury statuses of the Jets secondary, mentioned he's 8K on the road against the Jets. So if they're banged up still in the secondary, then I like Puka. If they're healthy, it's a riskier one, but Puka's been pretty clear that it does not matter who he's facing. He's going to have a good game. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, is a great play against Chicago. Now, we saw, a few weeks ago, just 5 of 7 for 73 in that game. But I mentioned, I think this could be a really, really good game for both offenses. If the Bears could get things clicking, I think this could be a really good, high-scoring game. But that Bears offense has to be able to pace Detroit. A.J. Brown, 7,800 against Washington. Love this one. I know Lattimore is now in Washington. So that could be a game changer for Washington's secondary, who has not really performed the greatest this season. So definitely would be interested in it just because A.J. Brown is kind of discounted in my opinion. Devontae Adams, 7,100 against the Rams. Love that one. T. Higgins, 6,800. Don't mind that. Granted, he is up there in price. Jerry Jeudy on the road against Cincinnati. Need Jameis in there for Jeudy. Garrett Wilson priced really well. Cooper Kupp kind of dropping in price too, but I mean, after you throw up 0 fantasy points, something like that's going to happen. So I think it's a good matchup for Cooper Kupp. He's just got to get the ball. Drake London, and I'm just disappointed by Atlanta last night, so it's leaving a sour taste in my mouth, so I'm going to say no there. Brian Thomas against Vegas, I don't mind that one though. Jordan Addison, I would prefer Justin Jefferson in this one, just early on looking at it, but his prices continue to go up. Malik Neighbors on the road against Atlanta. I just need to know who the quarterback is before we pick it, because if it's DeVito, I'm not really loving Malik Neighbors. JSN at 6K, yes. I mean, he has just been the more consistent wide receiver in Seattle this season. Tyler Lockett really hasn't gotten much volume, so it's pretty much DK and JSN. Khalil Shakir, 5,900 against New England. I don't think you need to go there this week. Jacoby Myers, 5,800. If it's AOC, yes. If it's Desmond Ridder, I don't know if I could do it. I really don't. DJ Moore goes down in price at 5,700. Kind of like that one there. Calvin Ridley, if it is Mason Rudolph, yes. If it's Will Levis, I can't justify. I mean, he's had 2 really, really, really good matchups the last 2 weeks and really has underperformed. So I would need Mason Rudolph to play Ridley this week. Adam Thielen, a good matchup, 5,600 against Arizona. I like that one. DK Metcalf. Holy hell is he dropping in price. He's down to 5,500 against Minnesota. I'm just saying that prices continue to drop. Going down even cheaper. Jameson Williams is there, 5,500. I'm okay with that one. But Marvin Harrison is 54. He continues to drop. Keenan Allen, 5,300. I think this one is a good one, right? Saw it a couple weeks ago against Detroit, 5 of 73 and 2 touchdowns. Last night gets included again after only seeing 13 targets in the last 2 games. Saw 13 last night and a touchdown, so definitely like Keenan Allen in that one. Deebo Samuel drops in price. Some of these players I never thought we'd see at this price point, but here we are. Man, going down this list, it's tough, right? I like Cedric Tillman if he's back in with Jameis. Not really interested in Josh Downs with the way Richardson's been playing, but I love Josh Downs as a talent. Man, it is tough. Elijah Moore, no, like he just disappointing there to me. Westbrook Ikine is still priced high, but I think there's potential there. Demario Douglas, 4,400 against Buffalo. I don't hate it. Michael Wilson, 4,200 on the road against Carolina. I don't hate that one either. Jalen Coker goes all the way up. He was 3,700 last week. Has that really big touchdown catch, and they put him up 500. Would watch the Xavier Legette injury news. That could be good for Jalen Coker. Wan'Dale Robinson, yet again, I like Wan'Dale this week. I definitely think you have to watch the injury area, who the quarterback is for the Giants. Continue to go down. Trey Tucker, if AOC's in at 3,900, I love that. Continue to go down. And there's not a lot down here, right? We're not getting a lot of volume guys down here at cheap, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, maybe as the week goes on, we find somebody, but Trey Tucker at 3,900 this is kind of the last guy that stands out to me. And then tight end Brock Bowers is still 6,500. A really good matchup for him, though, at home against Jacksonville. You also get Trey McBride, a really, really good matchup against Carolina on the road. And, I mean, he's just seeing a lot of targets. So, yet again, emerging as the number one target there in Arizona. George Kittle against Miami. Yep, love George Kittle. Just always. Njoku, if he's in, it's a good matchup. If he's out, Akins probably be cheap again this week. Sam Laporta kind of stands out, 4,700. Had 2 touchdowns against the Bears earlier. That was kind of really it, though. 3 for 6 and 2 touchdowns. So, but we've kind of seen him get volume, right, compared to earlier in the year. We're seeing him get included a little more. With David Montgomery out, we might see a couple more pass attempts to him. Continue to go down. Strange at 3,500. I mean, if you do the coin flip like me and you went Smart over Strange, you're very disappointed when you saw Strange get 12 targets, and he caught 11 of those for 73. So he definitely outscored Smart by far. Chig, if it's Mason Rudolph, I love Chig this week. I mentioned it last week. I thought it was a good value, and he definitely paid off value-wise. 8 for 59, got 10 targets, 13.9, so definitely was good there. Akins would be 3,200 if Njoku's out, so that's one to watch. Other than that, for the price points, not really anybody down here, unless an injury happens. Daniel Bellinger maybe at 2,900 if it's Drew Lock or Boyle, then you have Bellinger. DeVito, not really interested in Bellinger there. And then defenses will just go down cheap. Patriots, no. Chicago, no. Cleveland against Cincinnati, maybe. That one is interesting. Would watch the injury status of Myles Garrett getting poked in the eye. Giants against Atlanta, this one, like, the Giants have not been what they were in the beginning of the season, to where they were getting to the quarterback a lot, getting pressure, getting sacks, still allowing points, but 5 sacks in the last 2 games. They got 3 against Baltimore, and I think 1 or 2 were against Johnson. So do with that as you will. Jets at home if the secondary gets healthy. I think that one's interesting. Tennessee against Indy. That one's also interesting with how bad Indy's offense has been. San Fran against Miami, maybe at 2,800. But you go to the top if DeVito's in. I'm not going to say Atlanta. Nope, not saying it. I'm not doing it. Minnesota against Seattle, that one I like. Cincy against Cleveland, that one I like as well. So that's kind of where I'm at for defenses this week. So hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. If you guys are interested in joining us, the link for our website for a very cheap subscription package where you get my bets and props, my DFS plays in prime time, the main slate. You get my cash player pool, tournaments, values, all that stuff. If you guys are interested in that, check that out. And I will see you guys in the next one.